Hello, welcome. My name is Barbara. Around the WNBA. Indiana Fever against the Dallas Wings. The Fever were cooking, and the W took notice. Let's get into their fourth consecutive win and how they did it. Let's go. The Fever played the Dallas Wings. Okay? The game was a good game. Both teams were on point. Both teams didn't want to lose. We have the Dallas Wings, who are pretty much low in the standings. That's not because of Paige Becker or Enrique, because they both are scoring. But what is it about? Why is it that the Dallas Wings are not winning games? They have individual scorers like Paige Becker's, like Enrique, who can get the buckets in, and they do. But why aren't they winning? We'll get back to that in a minute. The Indiana Fever, on the other hand, this is their fourth consecutive win. Their fourth consecutive win. So something that the Indiana Fever is doing is working. Something the coaches are doing is working. Something that the players are doing, it's working. And I believe that the coaches are putting their heads together and coming up with better defensive schemes, better schemes in general, in the inside and on the outside, that they have been working on. I also believe that the players don't want to lose. And now they have Bibby, who has just signed for the rest of the season contract with the Indiana Fever, which is excellent. She's an all around player. She can do 3-pointers, good on defense, and takes up space on the floor. She's wonderful. So the Indiana Fever, each game that they win, they go up in confidence. That's one reason why they're winning. Their confidence level has increased. So they're no longer depending on one player to make the points. It's a team effort, which means if someone's not pulling and making the baskets, then someone else will. If someone's not on the defense, then someone else is going to be on the defense. So they are working as a unit, and they are more confident in shooting and in their defensive play. So one reason why they are winning is because of their confidence. Second reason why they're winning is because they're practicing their defense more often. Now, wait a minute. They're not perfect at it. Don't get me wrong. They are not perfect at practicing defense on the court. They sometimes have lulls here and there in it, which causes, their opponents to get baskets. Okay? So they got to get better in that. And I hope, and I think they will, each game that they play, they will get better at their defense schemes, and they won't get laxed in them. One of the things that I noticed around them working with Paige Beckers is that there was occasions where they got her really well, sometimes double teamed her, but she's someone they got to stay on, because if the ball is in her hand, she's going to pull back and take the shot, okay? And more than not, she's going to get those buckets. So they got to stay on her. They can't just go be on her a little bit and then go off or what. They got to stay on her. She's not only a good point guard, but she is a shooter. She can get buckets. So when you know someone can get buckets, you got to guard them. You got to make it difficult for them. You got to be a nuisance to them, okay? Same thing with Enrique. You got to be a nuisance, because she can pull back and get that 3-pointer, and if she gets hot, forget about it. So you have to guard these two individuals ongoing and not get tired of doing it. and not think, well, they'll pass the ball this one or they'll pass the ball this time. No, 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 no. If there's a shot to be made, they're going to take that shot. So they have to increase their defense around the players that they know on the team that are shooters, that are accurate in their in shooting, which means that they will get the bucket. They have to guard them much, much more. Okay, but their defense has increased, and that's the reason why they've won 4 games in a row. Okay. The third thing is that they're communicating on the floor. When their communication goes down, you can see them turning over the ball. As a matter of fact, you might say the more turnovers that they get or that they give out is the more that the communication is lacking. So we got them being confident, we got their greater defense, we got them communicating on the floor. These are 3 reasons why they are winning 4 consecutive games in a row. Okay? And the fourth one, they are able to get their eye on making good shots. All right. Now, again, they're not perfect here. There's sometimes when there are easy bunnies that they could have and they're not taking them. Or they go after them, but they're off in some way or form, or they shoot too quickly, or they don't have their eye enough to get it into the hoop. They just are off about a little bit, they're off. That has to be fine tuned. They have to shoot with precision. Okay? So it's not that they're not doing it at all, because they are. They just got to get better at it, to the point where as soon as they get a good look, boom, shoot the ball, it goes in. Okay? As soon as they know that someone's making a backcourt cut, they have to know that the ball's going to get to that individual. They have to really be precise with how they pass the ball, and how they are going up for layups, and how they are actually going and getting those buckets that they can see can be made. All right. Now, again, they're not proficient in all of these things. They have gotten better in all these areas. They got to get better and better as we go along, heading for the playoffs. And also, what they're doing too is that they're picking up the pace. The Indiana Fever, you know it, I know it, they know it, that when they play a fast-paced game and they're able to get transitional baskets, that's their bread and butter right there. That's their bread and butter right there. And the more they can do that, it throws off their opponents. It throws off any kind of plan they had around defending them, because they can't catch him. They can't catch, Mitchell. They can't catch Airy. They can't catch Cunningham or Hull when they get going. No. So they have to keep the pace at a certain level where it throws off their opponents completely. And that's the name of the game. They have to throw off their opponents. They have to make it such a difficulty for them to guard them, as well as for them to get buckets. They got to add confusion in there. They got to, be disruptive as much as possible for the other team. And the more they do it, the more the Fever will win games. So these are all the ingredients that, coming together, allow the Indiana Fever to win 4 consecutive times. Okay? 4 consecutive times. Not to mention, there's got to be off the court stuff going on too, where they're much more cohesive. They're coming together at practices. They're coming together probably in other ways that we don't see, because we can see it on the floor. Howard, sometimes she's hot, sometimes she's cold, sometimes she'll miss, easy buckets and things happen. But when she's on, she's on. She'll block. She will, run down, downhill. She will, get the rebounds. She will do the things that are expected of her to do, given her height and given her being a vet. Okay? She's just got to be more consistent. We don't want to have to wonder, okay, what's going to happen when, Howard gets on the floor? Is she going to be playing? Is she going to be not playing well? Is she going to be iffy? We don't want to be thinking about that. We want to know when she gets on the floor, she means business, period. From A to Z, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. Okay. In this game, the top scorers were Mitchell and Airy. Okay. And Boston comes up real quick. Okay. So let's get into more of the scores. All right. In the first quarter, we have Fever 22. We have Wings 22. See, they were like neck and neck. They both did not want to lose. Second quarter, Fever 26, Wings 20. Fever knew that they had to really pick up their defense, which gave them more opportunities for a good offense. Third quarter, Fever 22, Wings 15. They were holding them. They couldn't get the buckets willy nilly as they wanted to. They couldn't get whatever they wanted to whenever they wanted to because the Fever had them on lock. They guarded them really well. Okay? I mean, it wasn't perfect because they made 15 points, but still, that's decent. And then the fourth quarter, Fever 18 and the Wings 21. At this point, it's a little too late for the Wings, but they tried to rally. They didn't give up. And that's a good team that doesn't give up, right? Seriously, that doesn't give up is a good team. And they didn't give up. And we saw that. The score was 88 to 78 Fever. And just let you know, they were playing at the American Airlines Center. And that's in Dallas, Texas. And the attendance was 17,857. For the Dallas Wings, the starters, okay, we have Louisa. She had 4 points. We have Enrique, who had 8 points. Beckers had 22. Quinterly had 6. And Jones had 7. As far as three-pointers, there were no three-pointers made by any of those. They attempted some, but they weren't made. Now, on the bench, off the bench, to say, Hines Allen, 9 points. McCowan, 6 points. Uru, 3 points. Carrington, 4 points. And James, 9 points. As far as three-pointers concerned, 1 of 3 for Uri and 1 of 3 for James. So we can see that in terms of three-point shots, they didn't do what they could have done. Now, for the Indiana Fever, we have Howard had 11 points. Boston had 12. Mitchell, 23. Cunningham, 6. McDonald, 15. From the bench, Dantas, 5. Bibby, 6. Colson, 3. And Hull, 7. And as far as three-pointers, Mitchell had 3 of 8. McDonald had 4 of 6. Dantas had 1 of 3. Bibby had 2 of 3. Colson had 1 of 1. And Hull had 1 of 4. So you can see that there was definitely three-pointers that they were just like plowing them in. And they did well. They did very well. And that has to do, again, with confidence. If you are seeing the ball go in the hoop, you have more confidence and you're able to shoot those three-pointers because one thing, you've been practicing that at your practice time or on your own time. And so when you come on the court, it's not going to seem foreign to you. It's going to be like second nature. As far as the team scores together, let's see. We have three-pointers for the Fever was 12 out of 28. For the Dallas, it says it was 2 out of 15. Yeah, Uri made 1 and James made 1. That's right. Okay. So three-pointers, 12 out of 28, 2 out of 15 for Dallas, 12 out of 28 for the Fever. And as far as field goals, 33 out of 73 for the Fever, 26 out of 64 for Dallas. Free throws, 10 out of 13 for the Fever, 24 out of 25 for Dallas. Now, that's one of the areas where the Indiana Fever have to improve upon. They have to stop getting the other team to the foul line. They got to stop putting them there. They got to watch where they put their bodies. They got to watch where they fling their arms. They got to watch what they're doing because they're getting too many fouls early on in the game, and then they're sending the opponents to the line, and the opponents are getting the free throws. So that's got to stop, and they got to stop turning it over. Stop. I want to see the day when the Indiana Fever have 5 turnovers at the most throughout the whole game. All right, so here we go. Rebounds, 44, Fever, 30, Dallas. Assists, 25, Fever, 16, Dallas. Steals, 10, Fever, and 8, Dallas. Blocks 3 Fever and 7 Dallas. Turnovers 20 for Fever, 15 for Dallas. Points conceded off turnovers 13 for the Fever and 16 for Dallas. Fast break points 14 for the Fever, 10 for Dallas. Points in the paint 36 for Fever, 34 for Dallas. And the fouls 20 for Fever, 16 for Dallas. The largest lead was 13 and for Fever and 2 for Dallas. Now, they've played together 3 times already. So we have the Fever winning all 3 games against the Wings. Okay? Their next game is on August 12th. That'll be their 4th game in their last game. Now, as far as the standing, we have Indiana is in the 6th position as far as the standings overall. And we have Minnesota in the 1st position, New York in the 2nd, Atlanta in the 3rd, and Seattle in the 4th. And Phoenix, Mercury is in the 5th. And of course, the Fever is in the 6th position. Now, as we know, the Fever will start now their West Coast tour. And so their away games on the West Coast. So they're going to come up against some talented players. And I believe their next team they play is Seattle. Seattle is a good team. They got 3-point shooters on there. They got, folks that are able to, hit the 2-pointer from the top of the key almost and, midway. They have people who can play in and out. I mean, they can play basketball and get the buckets, basically is what I'm trying to say. NECA, you have Diggins, you have Williams, Gabby Williams. So you have players on there that mean business. So it's going to be important that the Indiana Fever look at what they have to face when it comes to Seattle, because they're the next on the list. All that said, so we know that the Indiana Fever, as long as they are confident, as long as they have a better defense, and defense is from first quarter to the 4th quarter, as long as they have a good offense, good looks, and taking those good looks, as long as they're communicating with each other, they're gonna continue to win. And of course, they have to stop giving their opponents fouls and sending them to the foul line. They got to stop that. They got to stop sending them to the free throw line. And of course, they got to stop having too many turnovers. If they can do that, they can accomplish what they want to accomplish in this West Coast road trip. So let me know what you think about the game in the comment section. And as usual, my name is Barbara around the WNBA, and I am so happy you decided to tune into my channel. And you're already here. You've already been coming. So why don't you just keep on coming back and subscribe? Just subscribe. Come on home and subscribe. And hey, give me a thumbs up because that helps me. Give me a thumbs up. And also tap the bell so you'll be aware of when there's new content. All right. Until next time. And understand, I just want to say one thing here. Until August 7th, people in the WNBA, the teams are in the WNBA, are able to trade until August 7th. That's the deadline. Okay? So you might see some players get offloaded. You might see players being switched around. Who do you think should be traded from what team and who? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, Bibby's been signed to the end of the season contract. So she's on the Fever. As we speak, she's on the Fever. It's a done deal. Okay? And we're happy about that. All right. Still no word when CC Caitlin Clark is going to come back, which is fine because we'd rather her come back when she's completely healed. Completely healed. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Get completely healed, Caitlin. Okay? Completely healed. Thank you for joining me. And as usual, go Fever, peace, and blessings. Until next time.